A very good morning and Jai Hind children. I hope you all are doing well. Welcome to your chemistry class. Children, in the previous class of chemistry, we were doing the revision of chapter Fiber to Fabric that we have completed, and we have also seen few extra questions in the worksheet. So I hope you all have practiced that again. So children, today we are going to revise the chapter Separation of Substances, that is chapter number 5. Okay, and I hope most of you have revised it once before coming to the class, as I have told you yesterday to revise this chapter Separation of Substances. So I hope everybody is ready with their book, the rough notebook and pencil. So children, please open this chapter Separation of Substances and be ready with your rough notebook and pencil. Okay, so now I am going to share the chapter's PDF so that we can revise it. Alright, so chapter number 5, Separation of Substances. So children, we have also read this chapter very thoroughly, so you can easily understand it. So because it is a revisional class, I will only pinpoint the very important lines of this chapter. Okay, I am not going into much detail of this chapter. I will just give you a gist and a revisional notes of this chapter. Okay, so the first topic in this chapter is mixtures and pure substances. So what is mixture and what is pure substance? So mixture, as the name says, mix. So whenever we are adding two or more molecules or substance together to form a new substance, that is called mixture. Okay. Now what is pure substance? In pure substance, there is only one type of molecule or one type of atom present. Like in sugar, in salt, this is pure substance. Water is a pure substance. Okay. What is mixture? When two or more different substances are mixed together to make a new substance, that is called mixture. Okay. What is the example of mixture? Example of mixture is tap water, sea water, milk, wood, air. All these things are mixtures. Okay. Because it is not containing only one molecule. Tap water contains various dissolved salt, some impurities in it. So that is a mixture. Sea water contains water and salt. So again it is a mixture. Milk contains water, cream and other substances. So it is a mixture. Wood, it contains cellulose and water. So it is a mixture. Air contains several gases like oxygen, carbon dioxide, nitrogen, water vapor. So more different molecules are mixed together in a substance. So that is called mixture. Okay. Now what is pure substance? Pure substance contains only one type of atom or molecule. It is called pure substance. Okay. So sugar and salt crystal are pure substance. Getting it? Because they are containing only one molecule. No other substance is mixed in sugar and salt. So it is a pure substance. Okay. So I hope it is clear what is mixture and what is pure substance. So mixture is when two or more different substances and molecules are mixed together, it is called mixture. When a single molecule is present in any element or compound, it is called pure substance. Example of mixture: tap water, sea water, air. All these things are the example of mixture. What is the example of pure substance? Sugar and salt is the example of pure substance. Okay, there are very few pure substance and maximum of the thing is in the form of mixture. Okay, now depending on what solution we are making, what mixture we are making, and whether it is soluble or insoluble, that mixture is divided into two parts. Okay, so let's talk about the types of mixture. So there are two types of mixtures. One is homogeneous mixture, another is heterogeneous mixture. One is homogeneous mixture, another is heterogeneous mixture. Homo means same. Homo means same. So whenever we are adding any solute to the solvent and we are getting a uniform structure, that is called homogeneous mixture. For example, if we add salt to water, we take a glass of water, we add a salt in it and just stir it. So we know that salt will get dissolved in water. Yes, and even after dissolving the salt, the color and texture and the state of water will not change. It will remain as it is. So the salt is spread uniformly in the water. Okay, such type of mixtures are called homogeneous mixtures. Clear? Just opposite is heterogeneous mixture. In heterogeneous mixture, whenever we are adding something like, take for example salt or take for example sand. So if we are adding sand in water, we know that it will not get dissolved and we can separately see water and we can separately see sand. So that type of mixture is called a heterogeneous mixture. The mixture in which we can see the components or the constituents separately and clearly and it is not spread uniformly, it is called heterogeneous mixture. Okay, let's see a few examples of homogeneous and heterogeneous mixture. So example of homogeneous mixture is air. Okay, air is an example of homogeneous mixture. Sugar and water is a homogeneous mixture because sugar can be spread evenly in water. Okay, air, here they are talking about pure air. Okay, so pure air is also a homogeneous mixture because in air we cannot separate where is oxygen, we cannot separate nitrogen, we cannot separate other gases. Yes, air is a homogeneous mixture. It is evenly spread. Other gases are evenly spread in the air. Okay, but if we are talking about dusty air, so when the air is dusty, we can easily see the dust particles. Yes, so that is why this is a heterogeneous mixture. Pure air is homogeneous and dusty air is heterogeneous mixture. Similarly, the mixture of chalk and water is also a heterogeneous mixture. Iron and sand is a heterogeneous mixture because we can clearly see the sand and iron in a mixture. Clear? So this is homogeneous and heterogeneous mixture. So there are two types of mixtures, homogeneous and heterogeneous. In homogeneous, the solution is evenly spread. Okay, we cannot differentiate what component we have added. In case of heterogeneous mixture, we can clearly identify what are the constituents in the mixture. So that is called heterogeneous mixture. Now coming on to few properties of mixtures. So before that, let me show you few examples of homogeneous and heterogeneous mixture. So here there are two types of mixtures, homogeneous and heterogeneous. So example of homogeneous mixture is mixture of salt and water, and you can see a soup here. Yes, so because it is a soup, various ingredients must be mixed in that, but we cannot see these ingredients separately, isn't it? We cannot see, they are evenly spread. So it is a homogeneous mixture. Heterogeneous mixture, this almond and this dry fruits, they are kept together. We can easily separate out almond from this, cashew from this, walnut from this. We can easily separate it out. Yes, and we can clearly see the separation. This is called heterogeneous mixture. Okay, here various gems are present. So we can easily separate out the gems from here. Here, pizza topping. So in the topping of pizza, we have various vegetables like potatoes, like capsicum and olive and all the things are just topped over this pizza and we can separately see it. और इसमें से जो भी चीजें हमें पसंद नहीं होती हैं, we just separate it out. Yes, so this is a heterogeneous mixture where we can clearly see the constituents and we can clearly separate out the constituents, so it is called a heterogeneous mixture. Now here, this is a mixture of sand, water and oil, okay, and we can easily separate out these mixture. We can easily separate out oil, water and sand from it. So this is a heterogeneous mixture. Again here in the last figure, sand and iron fillings are mixed together. So we can clearly see where is sand and where is iron filling. And whenever we are using a magnet, we can easily separate out the iron filling from the sand. Because the magnet will attract the iron filling and we can separate it out. So this is a heterogeneous mixture, examples of heterogeneous mixture. Okay. Now coming back to the chapter, let's talk about the properties of mixture. I hope this homogeneous and heterogeneous is clear. Now coming to the properties of mixture. Here they are basically talking about heterogeneous mixture. So let's see. The constituent of a mixture may be in any ratio. हम कितना पानी ले रहे हैं, कितना salt ले रहे हैं, कितना sugar ले रहे हैं, there is no fixed ratio, okay, in a mixture. Second, they retain their individual properties. Like for example, if you take a mixture of sand and iron, okay, so when we are mixing sand and iron, the iron doesn't lose its property, okay. That is why whenever we are bringing the magnet near the iron filling, it will get attracted to that, okay, and hence we can separate it out. So the iron here is not losing its property. So in a mixture, always the individual substance or the individual constituent does not lose its property. Even if we are talking about the mixture of salt and water, then also if we are adding the salt in water and then we drink it, the water will become salty. Yes, so here also the salt is not losing its property. Getting my point? So the constituents retain their individual properties, okay. Now moving ahead with the next property, that is they can be separated by simple method, okay. They can be separated by simple methods. Like if we have a rice and there are various impurities and small stones are present in the rice, and that is an undesirable substance, so we can easily pick the stone out from that bowl of rice, isn't it? So by a simple method we can also separate the constituents. Getting it? Now the question comes, when we are talking about any homogeneous mixture and the mixture is when the two mixtures are looking alike and we are not allowed to touch it, we are not allowed to just taste it, then how we can separate it out from the pure substance? So children, for this there is a property called melting point and boiling point, okay. So what is melting point and boiling point? Children, for a pure substance, take pure water or anything that is pure, is having its own fixed melting and boiling point. Like for example, the pure water is having its own fixed boiling point, that is 100 degrees Celsius, okay. 100 degrees Celsius is the fixed boiling point of pure water, okay. Now if you are given 2 glasses of water and you are asked to differentiate between both, which is pure and which is impure, we can easily calculate the boiling point of both the mixtures and we can find whether it is pure or impure. Okay, if the solution is impure, the boiling point will be more than 100 degree Celsius. The boiling point will rise. Okay, so here is the reason. Let's see. So pure compound are having fixed melting and boiling point. This is clear. Pure water at sea level boils at 100 degrees Celsius. So this is its boiling point. And if there are any dissolved substance in water, its boiling point goes up. Thus, by measuring the boiling point, we will know whether the water is pure or not. Getting it? So this is melting and boiling point. If we are having two solutions, we can easily separate it out. Clear? Now coming on to the next topic, that is, why is separation necessary? This is important. Why is separation necessary? As the name of the chapter says, separation of substances. So why there is a need to separate the substance? So children, there are three basic these three basic reasons why the separation is necessary. First is to remove the undesirable constituents. So to remove the undesirable constituents. Okay, I'll explain it to you. Then to obtain useful constituents, and third, to obtain pure substance. Okay, let's talk about the first one, to remove undesirable substance. Like, again, if you are taking a bowl of rice and it is containing an impurity, will you eat that rice? Will you cook that rice? No, because when we are eating the rice, the impurities, the stone, everything will come in our mouth, and that is not good and that is undesirable. Okay, so we have to remove that impurity. We have to remove these substances from the rice. Okay, again, if you have any vegetable, take पनीर की सब्जी है आपके पास, okay, and वो बहुत spicy है, उसमें बहुत सारे मिर्च है, हरी मिर्च है, so we cannot eat the green chili all the time. Yes, so what we need to do is we just separate it out. Yes, we separate out the green chilies from the vegetable. Yes, so that is undesirable substance for us, so we need to separate it out. हम नहीं खा सकते ग्रीन चिलीज इतनी ज़्यादा, तो we need to separate it out. Even few of you don't like the potatoes and tomatoes, तो आप क्या करते हो? टमाटर निकाल देते हो उसमें से और potatoes निकाल देते हो उसमें से. So the things you don't like, you just separate it from the mixture. Getting it? So, and also again, if we take a tea, so can we drink the tea with a tea leaf? No, we cannot. So the tea leaf needs to be separated from the tea, okay, with the help of a strainer. So again we separate out the tea from the strainer. Getting a tea leaf from the strainer. So they are the undesirable substance. So this all things is very important, and even this is our daily routine work. But even during in hospitals, in when we are performing certain experiments in the laboratory, this process is also very important there. Okay. Now, to obtain a useful constituent, so हमने undesirable substance निकाल दिए. Now we need a useful substance. So take for example, if we want to prepare a butter. So butter can be prepared from milk or curd by the process of churning. Okay, what is churning? I'll show you. Okay, then butter needs to be separated. Here for us, butter is a useful constituent, and we separate it out from milk and curd by the process of churning. Okay, and also during the formation of petrol, diesel, kerosene oil, all these things, a fractional distillation process is done, where crude oil is separated into different fractions by, like, depending on the boiling point. Okay, so petrol, we get kerosene, we get diesel, we get tar, etc. from the crude oil. Okay, so let me show you the diagram. So we have talked about the heterogeneous mixture. We have talked about heterogeneous mixture here. So why is separation necessary? There are 3 points. To remove undesirable constituent, to obtain useful constituent, to obtain pure substance. Okay. So first, to remove undesirable constituents. Again, you can see a rice here and there are various impurities in it. So we need to separate it out. Okay. Then again, tea leaf is separated from a tea. This is also important. We can easily separate out a chilies from this vegetable. Okay. So this is the removal of undesirable constituent. Moving ahead with to obtain a useful constituent. So you can see the first diagram. This first diagram is a process of churning. Okay. Here what this lady is doing, with the help of this churner, she is separating out the butter from milk and curd. Okay. So this is a process of churning. So here the desirable constituent is butter. This is a process of fractional distillation. Crude oil is separated into a fraction. Okay. And then we get fuel oil, diesel, kerosene, petrol, all these things we get when we separate it. Okay. So that is why separation is very, very, very important. To obtain a pure substance, like we use a filter at our home. So filter, what it does, it removes out the impurity and gives us a pure water. Okay. So to obtain a pure water, the separation is important. Okay. So this we have seen why separation is necessary. We have seen this. Okay. Now moving ahead with the next topic, that is methods of separation. Okay. This we will talk after a while. Let's first discuss the few easy topics, like that is at the last of this chapter, that is solubility and importance of water. So we will discuss that first and then we'll shift to this method of separation. Now what is solubility? Children, please open this page, page number 54. What is solubility? So solubility is a property where two constituents can be dissolved with each other to form any mixture. This is called solubility. अगर वो dissolve हो जा रहा है तो it is called soluble. Okay. In the previous like जब मैं आपको आगे पढ़ा रही थी, then also I have used a term called dissolve and soluble. So what it is, when like take for example, again I am taking the example of water and salt. So if we are adding 1 tablespoon of salt in water and we are stirring it, so it will get dissolved. So hence it is called a soluble solution. Okay, getting it? अगर dissolve नहीं हो रहा है, for example sand and water, sand will not get dissolved in water, so it is insoluble in nature. Getting it? Now let's see. Again take an example of water and salt. Okay, you have a glass of water and you have few amount of salt. You are adding 1 tablespoon of salt in water and you stir it. Okay, this will get dissolved definitely. Here in this mixture, the amount that is in less quantity, that is salt, is called solute. जो कम होता है उसको हम solute कहते हैं, जो ज़्यादा होता है उसको हम solvent कहते हैं, और जब ये solute और solvent mix होते हैं then they form solution. Okay, so the less amount is called solute, the larger amount is called solvent, and when we mix them together they forms solution. Getting it? So here water is solvent, sugar or salt, whatever you take, is a solute, and when the solvent and solute are mixed together they form solution. ओके आप इसको ऐसे भी याद कर सकते हो. सॉल्यूट में कितने लेटर्स हैं? 1 2 3 4 5 6. सॉल्वेंट में कितने लेटर्स हैं? 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. ज़्यादा है तो जिसमें लेटर्स कम है वो कम अमाउंट वाला होता है, उसको हम सॉल्यूट कहेंगे. जिसमें लेटर्स ज़्यादा हैं वो उसमें ज़्यादा. दिस इज जस्ट अ वे टू लर्न. ओके, डोंट टेक इट वेरी सीरियसली. सो सॉल्वेंट में क्या है कि लेटर्स ज़्यादा है, दैट इज SOLVENT. इट इज 7. सो जो ज़्यादा अमाउंट होता है दैट इज सॉल्वेंट, जो कम होता है दैट इज सॉल्यूट. ओके, एंड द लार्जर वन, सी 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. सॉल्यूशन में कितने लेटर्स हैं? 8 लेटर्स हैं. तो जब दोनों को हम मिक्स करते हैं सॉल्यूट और सॉल्वेंट को तो इट फॉर्म सॉल्यूशन. सॉल्यूशन बड़ा होगा. ठीक, कम लेटर कम अमाउंट, ज़्यादा लेटर ज़्यादा अमाउंट, बहुत ज़्यादा लेटर्स तो वो और ज़्यादा बन गया, दैट इज अ मिक्सचर. ओके, सो दिस इज अ वे टू लर्न. ओके, just to clear the confusion. Okay, don't just start writing it in your exams. Okay, so that was about the solute, solvent and solution. Now what is universal solvent? Universal, as the name says, is something related to universe. Okay, so the substance that is soluble every time, like it can dissolve the maximum of the substance, is called universal solvent. So here water is called a universal solvent. Water is called universal solvent. Okay, so here water is a universal solvent because it can dissolve large number of substances. That is why water is called a universal solvent. Okay, now moving ahead with the next, that is saturated solution. What is saturated solution? So see, I am again taking an example. We have water, we have sugar. ठीक, वाटर लिया हमने कुछ अमाउंट ऑफ वाटर उसमें मिक्स, शुगर उसमें मिक्स किया, it got mixed up. Okay, then again we have taken 2 tablespoons of sugar, we just mix, add it in water and mix it. Okay, again it will get mixed, but slowly and gradually you keep on adding the sugar. The time will come when even after stirring it for a longer time it will not get dissolved. That state is called a saturated solution. That state is called saturated solution. मतलब अब उस solution में कोई भी solute अब हम बहुत ज़्यादा add नहीं कर सकते. It will not get dissolved. So that solution is called saturated solution. Okay. Now how we can, in a saturated solution, how we can mix it again? By increasing the temperature. अगर हमने उसको boil कर दिया, उसको गर्म कर दिया, and then again we try to dissolve the sugar in that, it will get dissolved. Okay, but there is one exception. However, the solubility of salt increases very little with temperature. ठीक है, शुगर तो ऐड हो जाएगा लेकिन सॉल्ट बहुत ज़्यादा फिर से ऐड नहीं होगा. ओके, सो दिस इज द सैचुरेटेड सॉल्यूशन. आई हैव एक्सप्लेन्ड यू व्हाई ऑल दीज थिंग्स हैपन, सो आई एम नॉट गोइंग इनटू मच डिटेल ऑफ इट. ओके चिल्ड्रन, so we have talked about this chapter, we have seen a few important things of this chapter. Tomorrow again children will see different methods of separation and we'll see the importance of water as a solvent. Okay, and I'll also send you the worksheet so that you can practice the question from this chapter. Okay, so if you again come across any kind of doubt, do ask in the group children. Okay, so that's all for today's class. I hope you have recalled few of the topics from this chapter. So those who have not read the chapter, please children today read the complete chapter at least. Okay, so that when I am revising it, आपको वो चीज़ें याद रहें. Okay, so that's all for today's class, children. Thank you and Jai Hind everyone.